Okay, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Okay, folks, welcome back. My student here today looking at significant figures. Now, significant figures are a bit different than decimal places because significant figures move around. Decimal places are always fixed. So let's have a look at a number first of all. Okay, so we say, for example, we look at the number 234.5.60713. Now, if we look at this question from the point of view of decimal places, Amna, this would always be the first decimal place. Second, and this one would be the third decimal place. That would be the fourth, and that would be the fifth decimal place. First, second, third, fourth, fifth decimal place. So decimal places live in one place. They don't move around. So the first decimal place is the first place after decimal point. It's always going to be in the same position. Okay? Now, in this particular question, if we look at the significant figures, I'll change color now. The first significant figure, now the word significant itself, what does it mean? The word significant means something of value. It is significant. So the first number of value, the first non-zero digit. So your first non-zero digit isn't actually here. Look, it's not here. It is actually there. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. So that's my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth significant figure. SF, 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 SF. Sometimes your decimal place and significant figures they can line up, but we don't want to make too much relevant to decimal places at the moment. So in this particular question, the first significant figure is going to be the 2 because it's the first number of significance, first number of any value. It's the first non-zero digit. The first non-zero digit. Now let's have a look at another number. Let's have a look at another number. Let's say, for example, you start with 0.0050126. Okay, and I'll run the decimal point comparison for a little bit longer. So here's my first decimal place, second decimal place, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and seventh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as you can see from the top example to the bottom example, the decimal places are living in the same place. They're not moving around. Can you see that now? Yeah, so look here. After decimal point, first place is first decimal place. After decimal point, the first place is first decimal place. So the decimal place positions don't move. But I'm going to show you now that the significant figures move significantly. Now, let's have a look. Use the same color orange now. So if you look at this number at the bottom, where is your first? Remember, when you check the number always starts from the left-hand side. You read it from here onwards. So this here was my first significant figure. So your first, so if we look at the 0, is 0 a significant number? No. Is the next one a significant number? No. Next one? Next one? Yes. So this 5 here in the third decimal place is called our first significant figure. And that's the second one. That's the third one. That's the fourth one. And that's the fifth significant figure. Now you might be thinking, well, you said the first non-zero digit is a significant figure, but we've got a 0 in the number. Once the number started, any zeros inside the number are significant. It's your first non-zero digit from the left-hand side. So we're starting from the left-hand side, and we're looking, checking: is it significant? No. Is that significant? No. Is that significant? No. Yes, that is significant. So your first significant figure is the 5. Here the first significant figure was the 2 in the thousands place value. And this one is 5 in the thousandth place value. Yes? So that's first one, identifying where the significant figures are. So if you don't know where they are, you'll start the question in the wrong place. Okay, are we happy with this little intro? So if you're happy with this intro, okay, what we're going to do, I got some numbers on the side over here. What I would like you to do this number, because we'll be doing these questions now together with you in the next part of the video. I would like you to write these numbers out from here 1 to 10, and I want you to identify for me, like I've done here, the first 3 significant figures. Off you go. Okay, folks, let's come back now. Now we're going to practice some of the questions. Let's see how we do this question. I've been looking on my YouTube channel, I can't seem to find any questions on SF, so let's do a nice video today. But I don't want really a metallic brush. Okay, let's go for red. Now, it says that the number 4.921 SF. Now, your first significant figure is your first non-zero digit starting from the left, which actually works out to be the... Okay, now we don't want black. We want red. Ask for red, and I've got a black. So that is my first SF. Alhamdulillah. Now, when we do first SF, okay, now we do like normal rounding technique. We say that this is our last digit, and the next digit, oh, let's get a thinner brush. And the next digit is going to be called the, what do you call the next digit? The decider. If the decider is 5 or more, we add 1 to the last digit. So 4 add the 1 will give us 5. Now, you might be thinking, why have I stopped at 5? When you're rounding off, and the digit that you're rounding off is before the decimal place, you have to stop at the decimal point. So we do not carry on in the question past here. So in the answer as well, we do not have any more digits in the answer. So the number 4.92 rounded up to 1 significant figure, we stop at the decimal point. We don't fill it, we don't write 5.0, that would be incorrect. Okay, so 4.92 to 1 significant figure is 5. Let's have a look at the next question. I think that pen is a bit thin. It says 2SF. So we start from the left, and 6 is my first non-zero digit, so that's my first SF. The 7 is my second SF. First, second, SF. So we are going to put a dotted line along here. We are going to do, we're going to circle this number here. So the 7 is my last digit, and the 6 is my decider. So I'm going to, so what's the 6 telling us here? What's the decider digit telling us to do? The decider digit is telling us to add 1 to the last digit. So 7, we'll put a little 1 here, put an add. So 7 add 1 is, and 6 add nothing is 6. Now, what do we do with these two places? Now, before we said we stop the decimal point, now in this particular number, where is the decimal point? Even though we haven't given it to you, where is it? It is after the number, after the number 4. So the decimal point is currently living here. We can't see it, but I've just put it in now. So now what do we do with these two gaps? Now, do we just stop the number there? Can we stop the number there? It would be wrong to stop the number there, because the original number was 6,764. Rounded up to 2 significant figures, the answer is never ever going to be 68. So what do we do with these two gaps? We fill them with 2 zeros. And here's the key word. We fill them with zeros up to the decimal point. We don't go past the decimal point with the filling. We don't fill up zeros after the decimal point. So the final answer for that one is 6,800. Now, let's have a think. When we use significant figures, say for example, on the weekend somebody went to a football match, and the actual number of people that went through and paid money for tickets was 6,764. The manager goes, I want you to give me two significant figures, like a rough figure, like a big, nice round figure, how many people went. So if you round off 6,764 to the nearest 100, in a sense, you get 6,800. So is that close to our original number? Yes, it's very close. It represents our original number. Would the number 68 represent our original number? No, you've lost information. So we've done that. Okay, so we filled here, from here to here, up decimal point with zeros. The next number, 921. So your first significant figure is your first non-zero digit, starting from the left. first and second, first and second SF. So we stop there. That becomes our last digit. The next one becomes our decider. Now the decider is now less than 5. So what we do to the last digit? We leave it alone. We don't add anything to it. Now what we do the gap here, because we've got a gap before the number finishes. 921. So what do you do the space? You put a 0. So 921 rounded to 2 SF gives us 920, and we have maintained and retained the original information. We haven't done any. We haven't started becoming a butcher, mathematical butcher, start chopping the number off and losing the original information. Here comes the next question. Remember, we start always from the left-hand side. Is this my first SF? 0. No. What about the 1? Yes. This is my first SF. This is my second SF. So I think things back to front. That's my second SF. If that's my second SF, then you have to stop there. And that becomes the last digit. The next one becomes the decider. So we look at the decider. If it's less than 5, we just copy the number down up to the point, the last digit. Now here's a quick question. Now we got lots of numbers here. What do we do with all of these spaces here? Because we have to stop at the last digit. What do you do with those? What do we fill these ones with zeros now? No. We filled it in this question here because we were on the left-hand side of the decimal point. We had to fill in from up to the decimal point. Now we're on the right-hand side of the decimal point. Do we fill in the zeros? No. So 0.14 in this particular instance, if I can find my mass is gone. So we don't put anything here. We do not. So my final answer for this question is 0.14 and stop there. So now we can actually do a little bit of butchering. We can become a little mathematical butcher and we can cut off the information we don't need anymore. Here we can cut that part of the number off. Before we couldn't. Let's move on. 3SF. Okay, so first, second, and third SF. So we put a little dotted line here. And the next digit becomes the decider because the third significant figure is the last digit. That's the decider digit. Now, what's the decider telling us to do, Amina? The 4. Is that telling us to round up or to leave it alone? Leave it alone. So let's copy the 3, copy the 2, copy the 7. Now, we have now reached Amina the decimal point. What do we do when we reach the decimal point? We stop. So what happens to these two numbers here? What happens to them? We leave them off. So my final answer is 3 to 7 to 3 SF. So really here we should write down here 5 to 1 SF on the side. That's that to 2 SF on the side. That one's to 2 SF on the answer line. That one is 2 SF. Ooh. Okay, this one here, the answer is 3 SF. Are we happy with that so far? Right. Do you know when we got a fill and when we got not a fill? We only fill when we're on the left hand side of the decimal point up to the decimal point, then we stop. If you're on the right hand side decimal point, when we get to the last digit, we just stop and cut the rest of the number off and delete it. So here we go. Where's my first SF for the next question? Is it here? Is this first SF? Is it here? And this one? Yes. First, second, and third. Dot, 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 dot. This becomes my last digit. That becomes my decider. Now my decider is 5 or more. That's correct. So we add what? 1 to the last digit. So we get 6,150.0. Now what do we do with the 8 with the remaining space here? Do we put anything down here? No. Because we're on the right hand side of the decimal point, we stop at the last digit itself and we don't go any further. So the final answer is node 5162.3SF. That's finished. Okay, the next one. What was the next one to round it off? It was 1SF. 1SF. So 1SF is There. Here is my first non-zero digit from the left. So it's bum 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 bum. Last digit. That's called the decider. So our decider is 5 or more. It's 5. Add 1 to the last digit. So 8 and 1 is 9. What do we do with these gaps here? We fill up with zeros up to the and not beyond. So we fill, and stop here. So here we can't put anything here. So the final answer is 9,000, and that's to 1SF. Okay, last but not least, before we finish this video, then you could do some the remaining questions. We have 7761223, and we're going to do that to 3SF. So we start from the right hand side, the first SF, second SF, and that is the third SF. So that's my last digit. That's my decider. What's the decider telling us now? Leave it alone. Copy, copy, copy. Now we got space, 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 space. What do we do those spaces now? Do we not put numbers in there, or do we put zeros in there? We must put zeros in there up to the decimal point. So fill with zeros and stop there. And that is our final answer to 3SF. And that's the end of our video.